Howdy y'all and welcome. Hope everybody's staying warm out there and is having fun digging out. If y'all got in on the snow, and of course if you got in on the ice, then most likely your power is out by now, and hopefully they get that on very soon. I heard that down there in Mississippi that it's going to be out for several weeks, unfortunately. I hope that's not true, but hopefully they get that on very soon for y'all down there. I know it was very bad. I did see on Brandon's stream last night that Oxford, Mississippi got the worst of it, so my heart goes out to y'all down there. And here's some key facts and stats about this most recent winter storm. Of course, it spanned over 2,000 miles, influencing at least 19 states and potentially affecting over 235 million people, or 2/3 of the U.S. Winter storm warnings were issued for 118 million individuals in the eastern third of the country, of course. Reports confirmed at least 18 to 25 fatalities stemming from vehicle accidents, hypothermia, and exposure. And over 1 million customers experienced power outages, with Mississippi facing the most severe impacts. More than 153,000 homes and businesses were affected, potentially lasting for weeks due to ice-damaged lines. And of course, those trees are all drooped over as well. Air travel saw disruptions, of course, with over 10,000 flights canceled on January 25th alone. Snow accumulations reached up to 31 inches in New Mexico, with over 6 to 13 inches of snow in the Ohio Valley, which we got in on close to 13.5 inches here in southern Indiana. And of course, some areas got in on 14.5, and I'll show y'all the snow totals here in a little bit of what everybody saw, as well as the ice totals. But of course, ice buildup exceeded 1 inch in southern states, and over 16 million people were under ice storm warnings. This storm ranks among the most impactful in recent years, particularly for its ice-related damages in the South, comparable to the 1994 Mississippi ice event. And we can see the historical comparisons here. Winter Storm Fern parallels several notable events like the February 2021 storm, similar grid threats and southern outages, though Fern affected a broader area. The blizzard of 1996 was comparable due to the heavy snowfall in the east, with up to 40 inches recorded historically. Winter Storm Jonas in 2016 echoed snow totals in urban centers like New York and Philadelphia. The storm of the century in 1993, there's a lot of comparisons between the storm of the century and Winter Storm Fern, but luckily we didn't get in on any blizzards or anything. It had a broad reach and mixed precipitation types, just like Winter Storm Fern, impacting over 100 million people. The Great Appalachian Storm of 1950, extensive state coverage and power disruption. So this winter storm definitely ranks among one of the worst we've seen here out east, but not really one of the most historical ones, of course. The storm of the century is the one that stands out as the most significant, as the storm did actually underperform. I know there was a lot of hate mail out there when it came to the weather people, because some areas verified while others didn't, and mainly that's due to what we call dry air. We can see the role of dry air, a critical factor was the presence of dry air masses, particularly in areas like Oklahoma, for example, which caused evaporation or precipitation before it reached the ground, reducing accumulations below predictions. Despite the storm overcoming this barrier to deliver significant impacts elsewhere, the variability contributed to public dissatisfaction, as early warnings of historic, quote-unquote historic, event did not fully materialize uniformly. This highlights the complexities of atmospheric modeling and the importance of communicating forecast uncertainties. That's why I always put the disclaimer on here, just for anything that's a week out is subject to change. Really, anything over 24 hours out really is subject to change anyways, so definitely should stay on guard and should stay cautious, as models really are still under construction nowadays and are really not that perfect. So don't hate on the weather guy, we're always wrong, so please bear with us on that. We don't always get it right, but we try. And here is how much snow we did get in on here out east. Roughly 8 to 12 inches here in southern Indiana. Ohio and of course Pennsylvania in the northeast got in on even more. This was through the 25th. So even more has fallen since I saved this image of this model yesterday. So most areas received upwards of 20 inches of snow. And of course, here is the official snow totals. We can see New Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, 23 inches of snow. Cherokee, Alabama, y'all received 1 inch of ice. And of course, Alabama, South Carolina, Mississippi, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Kentucky, y'all got in on the most ice, while Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and even here in Indiana, we received the most snowfall. Now, of course, other than the winter storm, we got the bitterly cold air to deal with. I know this was from yesterday at 3:20 in the afternoon, but we can see that this cold air is going to be lasting all the way into February 1st, especially areas in the pink here. And we can see much below normal temperatures should persist across the eastern U.S. into the middle of next week potentially, before finally moderating. And we can see that well below normal temperatures will continue for the eastern half of the lower 48 this week. Another blast of Arctic air will spread from the plains through the east and southeast on Friday and Saturday, with more record low temperatures expected even into Florida. This could be the coldest temperatures we've seen in several years for some places, and the longest duration of cold in several decades. And this could result in some falling iguanas as well. And we can see last night that we had some record low temperatures across the south, which was particularly dangerous in the wake of the most recent winter storm, with many still without power, unfortunately. Hopefully they get the power back on for y'all down there. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be lasting for several weeks, but I hope they get that on even sooner than that, because there's threats of hypothermia and frostbite even without the wind. Wind chills were forecasted to drop into the -20s over the upper Ohio Valley, so hopefully y'all covered up out there and protected those pipes. Because as we rewind to right around midnight, this is when we had our low temperature here at the Winds Weather headquarters. We got down to 0 degrees last night. We could see much of the Ohio Valley got in on negative temperatures and really single digit temperatures here in the upper Midwest. Really wasn't too bad, but the wind chill made it feel even worse. So you can see negative teens to negative single digits to teen feels like temperatures here in Mississippi. So this is really going to be lasting all week this week, unfortunately, and we can see today that the temperatures are rising rapidly here. We're already near the mid-20s already, so we're starting to slightly warm up today. Sort of a heat wave, I guess you could say, but don't get used to it just yet, because I think all week this week, just like what the Climate Prediction Center says, we're going to be dealing with some bitterly cold air pretty much all week this week, and I think we're going to be out of the woods as we head into next week, as it says down here. So we're going to cover the temperatures first before we get into the precipitation, as I'm eyeing a couple concerning winter storms. Now, it's not looking like anything like Winter Storm Fern was, but it's still looking like we could have some significant travel impacts and some significant accumulations somewhere here along the east coast and potentially in the northeast, as a nor'easter could be possible. So what's the main threats for the next couple of weeks? Well, surprise, surprise, it's going to be much below normal temperatures as we head past Groundhog Day. So let's go ahead and jump right into them. And to do so, we're going to take a look at the GFS. Now, I know that this model did get it wrong when it came to the winter storm. The Euro was the one that got it correct. So we're still going to take a look at it as far as temperatures go, but as far as precipitation goes, we're going to take a look at both this and even the Euro model. Now, of course, we can see as we head into tonight, we're going to be dealing with some negative temperatures again. Most of us here are under some sort of cold weather advisory here out east, and some extreme cold warnings as well. As shown here, you can see cold weather advisories, extreme cold warnings, and even freeze warnings down here in Florida, as well below normal temperatures will continue for the eastern half of the country this week. Now back to the models, we can see that really this cold air ain't going to go anywhere anytime soon, really, unless you live down here in Florida and southern Texas. But we could be getting some relief as we head into the February 3rd to 4th time frame. We're going to finally start thawing out as we head into the middle of February. So really got a long time to go between now and then to thaw out. So get used to these cold temperatures while it lasts, because it's going to be sticking around for quite some time. But it ain't going to be here forever though, y'all, because the fall is coming, and it's looking to come as we head into the beginning and middle parts of February. So some relief is on the way. We just got to get past, I think, the next couple of weeks, and I think we're going to be just fine. And we can see that the Climate Prediction Center has issued a slight risk from the 3rd to the 4th for hazardous temperatures here, pretty much out east, and a moderate risk all the way down here into Florida. So again, next couple of weeks we just gotta get past that, and I think we're gonna be out of the woods as far as the bitterly cold air goes anyways. So on to what the Climate Prediction Center expects for the next 6 to 10 days. Really, we don't need this to tell us it's going to be bitterly cold as we head into February, because it is. You can see the eastern part of the country is going to be heading into below average temperatures, while the Rockies into the Pacific Northwest is going to be well above average. Now, this don't mean it's going to be warm. It just means it's going to be a little bit warmer than it has been, but still going to be bitterly cold out there. Next 8 to 14 days, we could be getting some relief by this time frame, but still leaning below normal here out east, but still remaining above normal out west. So now that we know it's going to be cold for the next couple of weeks, and then we're going to finally get some relief as we head into the sort of beginning and middle of February, let's go ahead and get into that precipitation as I'm eyeing a potential winter storm here as we head into this weekend. Now, what do we know? Well, continuing cold temperatures will blanket the eastern half of the country into next week. We already know that. A strong surface low pressure system is expected to rapidly develop off the southeast coast Saturday and move off the mid-Atlantic on Sunday, prompting widespread gusty winds. Number 3, this surface low interacting with the very cold air mass will result in widespread heavy precipitation, which could mean some snowfall here in the east coast. Now, what we don't know is the exact track and strength of the surface low, which will determine the precipitation type, rain, snow, or mix, and where and how much precipitation occurs, the impacts to travel, infrastructure due to the combination of snow and wind, and the impacts to coastal regions due to strong winds, rough surf, and timing coincident with astronomical high tides. So basically, there could be a potential winter storm here in the East Coast and nor'easter as shown on the thumbnail. So let's go ahead and get into the precipitation. Keep in mind, we're going to take a look at both the GFS and the Euro just to be on the safe side here. We can see today we're going to be doing some lake effect snow in the Northeast and Upper Great Lakes and potentially here in the Ohio Valley. The rest of the country is looking to be pretty dry and chilly today though. Head off into Wednesday, much of the same story. Could be doing some sogginess here in the Northwest. But watch as we head into this weekend, we could be dealing with another potential winter storm. Now, still pretty far out as far as who will get how much snow and who will get rain and all of that nonsense, but definitely locking in on some sort of storm system here along the East Coast, and we could have a potential nor'easter as well. Now, as far as snow totals go, let's just go ahead and take a look at that for kicks and giggles here. Don't take this seriously, by no means. I will be keeping an eye on this on X and Facebook for y'all, and maybe even on here if it does become concerning enough. But as we take a look at the national blend of models here, we can see that roughly 5 to 10 inches over here along the East Coast and parts of the Northeast over here by New Jersey. So could be dealing with a pretty significant winter storm over there in the East Coast and potentially in the Northeast as well. As far as ice goes, there's not any sort of ice concerns out there, so that's some good news. What about precipitation from this? Well, this is also going to be including the snow as well. So some areas could see close to ½ inch of precipitation, and this is also including some snowfalls. So what I would guess is, just for kicks and giggles here, roughly 5 to 10 over here in the central and eastern Carolinas, eastern Maryland, much of New Jersey could see roughly 10 inches. Some areas could see a foot of snowfall here in the East Coast, but again, subject to change, of course, as is pretty far out when it comes to the models. This will be refined between now and then, so I would go ahead and get what you need now just in case I do get in on this much snow on top of what's already fell, which was mainly ice. So definitely prepare for that and prepare for the cold air all the way through this weekend here along the East Coast. And we could come in on an additional dusting here if you live in Indiana and Ohio and Illinois. Could be dealing with another inch up here by Wisconsin due to the lake effect snow that's going to be occurring all the way through this weekend. So definitely prepare for that. Now, before we take a look past this weekend, let's go ahead and take a look at the Euro. Now, the Euro pretty much same thing as what the GFS is showing us, with the lake effect snow occurring here in the Northeast, Upper Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, all the way through this weekend. And as far as that winter storm, at least that potential winter storm here along the East Coast, it's showing a little less snow here along the East Coast, mainly heading off into the Atlantic though, and heading off into the Northeast, mainly up here by Maine. So I would probably be more in agreement with this one. I think it's going to be a quick system that's going to be moving through, potentially dumping upwards of 3 to 6 inches, locally higher amounts possible is what I would expect. So I'll be keeping my eye on it for y'all. Could be dealing with another concerning system this weekend, but of course, please just be prepared. Don't be scared, of course, as I don't think it's going to be as bad as what the models are showing. So again, I'll keep y'all posted, like I said earlier. Now back to the GFS here. Once that moves out, it's looking like we're going to be really quiet for a little while, at least until we head into the February 4th time frame, where we could be dealing with some potential severe weather here in Texas and Louisiana, and some potential flooding, while the Upper Great Lakes could be dealing with some snow, as well as some snow here in New Mexico and Colorado. And then we're going to be quiet again. Could be dealing with some pesky snow showers here in the Northeast. But overall, really, I think the next couple weeks is going to be very, very quiet. Although the end of the GFS is showing, of course, a major winter storm here along the Rockies. But of course, 300 some hours out, well out in the future, may not happen in the first place. So pretty much it's going to be quiet for the next couple of weeks is what I would expect. Could deal with a couple concerning storm systems as we head into February, especially this weekend. We could be coming in on roughly 3 to 6 with locally high amounts possible here along the East Coast, and potentially a nor'easter up here in the Northeast. After that, it's looking to be pretty quiet. Could be dealing with some lake effect snow up here in the Northeast and Upper Great Lakes and Ohio Valley for the next couple of weeks is what I would expect. Overall, the rest of the country is looking to be pretty dry though, at least until we head into the February 4th time frame, as we could be coming in on severe weather down here in Louisiana and Texas after coming in on a significant ice storm down there, and just some pesky snow up here in the Upper Great Lakes and Northeast. And then quiet again until we come in on another winter storm here over here by the Rockies, which y'all haven't really seen much snow out there this year, surprisingly. But I think February is going to be a very snowy month out there, and I'll be taking a look at that in my February outlook, of course. So on to what the Climate Prediction Center has to say. Well, they're not showing anything for heavy snowfall, so that's some good news, especially if you live in the East Coast anyway. Precipitation, well, not much there either, so that's some good news. And winds, well, no risk for that either. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook. Looking like we're going to be drying out for much of us here, which explains the quiet weather pattern for the next couple of weeks, although we could be dealing with some lake effect snow in the Upper Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and Northeast, and a potential winter storm here in the East Coast this weekend. But overall, much of the country is looking to be pretty dry unless you live down in Texas and up here by North Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, and the UP of Michigan, and even up here in northwest Washington. Next 8 to 14 days, looking like much of the same story. The west coast is going to be drying out significantly, while down here by Texas and really the same areas are going to be coming in on above normal precipitation, although we could be coming in on an active weather pattern as we head in the middle of February. But of course, that is very far out and may not happen in the first place, and I will be breaking down what we could expect for the month of February in my February outlook coming up probably, I would say, by Saturday, maybe Friday. Just depends. I'll let y'all know. So, who will get in on the jackpot of precipitation? Well, we take this all the way out into February 7th. Now, I know this is pretty far out. This is 200 some hours out, but it's looking like the Pacific Northwest will be getting in on the jackpot. What else is new? The next area that will be getting in on the jackpot is over here in eastern Texas and northwest Louisiana. Could be coming in on significant flooding for the next couple of weeks down there. Now, as far as the snowfall goes, it's looking like the East Coast will come in on the jackpot this weekend, as well as up here in the northeast coast, as a nor'easter could be stretching its way up there. The Upper Great Lakes could be coming in on significant snowfall, but everybody else looking to be pretty quiet for the next couple of weeks. So, now to recap what we could expect for the next couple of weeks, well, I think we're going to be quiet for the next couple of weeks. We could be dealing with some lake effect snow in the northeast, Upper Great Lakes, and Ohio Valley. Could be dealing with a winter storm here along the East Coast that could result in 5 to 10 inches locally or higher amounts possible, of course. Some rays could come in on 3 to 6. Just depends. I'll keep y'all updated, though. Don't panic, though, because it's really, I don't think it's too concerning just yet. Could it be a nor'easter as well? But after that, it's looking to be very quiet out there. Could come in on some severe weather in Texas and Louisiana and some significant flooding here from Texas up here into southern Illinois, with another big snowstorm here in West Virginia and the Upper Great Lakes. And after that, looking to quiet down again. And then, of course, the end of the month is when we could come in on another major winter storm here in the Rockies. But overall, what I would expect for the next couple weeks is I think it's going to be very, very quiet amongst the lower 40, except for a couple concerning storm systems. As far as the temperatures go, well, I think we just got to get past the next couple of weeks, as we're going to be dealing with some negative temperatures at least all week this week here in the Ohio Valley and upper Midwest. But after that, I think we're going to finally start to recover and thaw out, and we're going to finally see the ground again as we head into the middle of February. And like I said earlier, I'll have my February outlook up here probably by Friday or Saturday. I'll let y'all know, of course. as February could be another wild ride. And Groundhog Day is coming up as well. Hopefully, the groundhog predicts an early spring, but I doubt it though, because that rodent is never hardly right. Pretty much, it's gonna be quiet for the next couple of weeks. Could be dealing with a couple concerning storm systems. Gonna be cold as well, and then we're gonna finally thaw out as we head into the middle of February. So I hope y'all stay warm out there, as it's looking to be cold for the next couple of weeks. But some good news is, I think we're going to be pretty dry amongst much of the country, really, unless you live out there in the East Coast, as we could be coming in on a winter storm this weekend. But of course, I'll keep y'all updated on it, and make sure you go out there and get what you need. Not looking too concerning, not looking like anything like Winter Storm Fern was. So again, I'll keep y'all updated like I said earlier. So again, stay warm, stay safe out there. I appreciate all of y'all for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, hopefully we get in on an early spring, because I'm already sick of winter, and I'm sure most of y'all are already sick of winter as well. And of course, until next time, never stop forecasting.